Let us see the overview of video streaming and communication applications. See, there exists a very diverse range of different video communications and streaming applications. They have a very different operating conditions. We can say they are having a different properties. So, for example, you take video communication application. That video communication application may be for point-to-point communication or for multicast or broadcast communication. You take video, and video may be pre-encoded, stored one, or maybe encoded in a real time. That example is interactive video phone or video conferencing. The video channels for communication, the video channel for communication may also be a static one or a dynamic one, maybe a packet switched or a circuit switched, may support a constant bitrate or a variable bitrate transmission, or sometimes may support some form of quality of service QoS, or it may only provide best effort support. So there are different channels, video channels. The specific properties of a video communication application strongly influence the design of the system. So therefore, I would continue by briefly discussing some of these properties and their efforts on video communication system design. Let's see about point-to-point, multicast, and broadcast communications. Okay, one by one. So first one, probably the most popular form of video communication is one-to-many. One-to-many, basically one-to-all communication, or broadcast communication, where the most well-known example is broadcast television. So broadcast is a very effective form of communication for a popular content, as it can often effectively deliver popular content to all receivers at the same time. An important aspect of the broadcast communication is that the system must be designed to provide every extended recipient, the last recipient, with the required signal. This is an important issue, since different recipients may experience different channel characteristics, and as a result, the system is often designed for the worst case channel. An example of this is a digital television broadcast, where the source coding and channel coding were designed to provide adequate reception to the receiver at the fringe of the required reception area, so thereby sacrificing some quality to the receivers in areas where with the high quality reception. So for example, in the center of a city, yes. An important characteristics of broadcast communication is that due to the large number of receivers involved, feedback from the receiver to the sender is generally infeasible, limiting to the system's ability to adapt. Another common form of communication is point-to-point or one-to-one communication. The example is video phone or unicast video streaming over the internet. In point-to-point communications, an important property is whether or not there is a back channel between the receiver and the sender. If a back channel exists, the receiver can provide feedback to the sender, which the sender can then use it to adapt its processing. On the other hand, without a back channel, the sender has a limited knowledge about the channel. Okay? Another form of communication with the properties that lie between point-to-point and the broadcast is called multicast. The multicast is one-to-many communication, but it is not one-to-all as in broadcast. An example of multicast is IP multicast over the internet. So we are going to discuss about it anyhow. Later we will discuss about it. IP multicast is currently not widely available in the internet, and other approaches are being developed to provide multicast capability. For example, the application layer multicast via overlay networks. To communicate to multiple receivers, Multicast is more efficient than multiple unicast connections. That is one dedicated unicast connection to each client. That is called multiple unicast connections. But this is better. Multicast is better, very efficient. And overall multicast provides many of the same advantages and disadvantages as broadcast. Real-time encoding versus pre-encoded or stored video. What's the difference? Video may be captured and encoded for real-time communications, or it may be pre-encoded and stored for later viewing. Interactive applications are one example of applications which require real-time encoding. For example, video phone, video conferencing, or interactive games. However, real-time encoding may also be required in applications that are not interactive. Example is the live broadcast of a sporting event. In many applications, video content is pre-encoded and stored for later viewing. The video may be stored locally or remotely. Examples of local storage include DVD or VCD in olden days. And examples of remote storage include video on demand, VOD, and video streaming over the internet. Example, now people are providing, like you take Real Networks, Microsoft, any other streaming networks, YouTube. Pre-encoded video has the advantage that it does not require a real-time encoding constraint. This can enable more efficient encoding, such as the multi-pass encoding that is typically performed for the DVD content. On the other hand, it provides limited flexibility, as the pre-encoded video cannot be significantly adapted to the channels that support different bit rates or to different clients that support different display capabilities than that used in the original encoding. Next one is interactive versus non-interactive applications. Interactive applications such as video phone or interactive games have a real-time constraint, correct? Specifically, the information has a time-bounded usefulness, and if the information arrives but is late, it is useless. This is equivalent to a maximum acceptable end-to-end latency on the transmitted information, where by end-to-end we mean capture, encode, transmission, receive, decode, and display. The maximum acceptable latency depends on the application, but it often is in the order of 150 millisecond. Non-interactive applications have a looser latency constraints. For example, many seconds or potentially even minutes. Examples of non-interactive applications include multicast of popular events or multicast of a lecture. These applications require timely delivery but have a much looser latency constraint. Note that interactive applications require real-time encoding, and non-interactive applications may also require real-time encoding. However, the end-to-end latency for non-interactive application is much looser, and this has a dramatic effect on the design of video communication systems. Next one is static versus dynamic channels. You take video communication system design. The video communication system design varies significantly if the characteristics of the communication channel, that is a bandwidth, delay, and loss. So the characteristics of the communication channel are static or dynamic. Dynamic means time varying. Examples of static channels include ISDN, which provides a fixed bit rate and delay and a very low loss rate. And another example is video storage on a DVD. These are all static channels. Examples of dynamic channels include communication over wireless channels or over internet. So video communication over a dynamic channel is much more difficult than over a static channel. So if I say furthermore, many of the challenges of video streaming that will be discussed in this session relate to a dynamic attributes of the channels. Constant bitrate CBR or variable bitrate VBR channels. Okay, let's see the difference between these two. Some channels support CBR, so for example ISDN or DTV, and some channels support VBR, for example DVD storage and communication over shared packet networks. On the other hand, a video sequence typically has time varying complexity. What is the meaning of time varying complexity? You take any movie, suddenly there will be an action, suddenly there will be a music, suddenly there will be a fight, suddenly there will be people will be talking. So that's called time varying complexity. So therefore, coding a video to achieve a constant visual quality requires a variable bit rate. And the other side, coding for a constant bit rate would produce time varying quality. If you maintain a constant bit rate, then the quality may vary. But if you want to have a constant quality, you have to have a variable bit rate. Clearly, it is very important to match the video bit rate to what the channel can support. To achieve this, a buffer is typically used to couple the video encoder to the channel. And a buffer control mechanism provides feedback based on the buffer fullness to regulate the fineness or coarseness of the quantization. So thereby the video bitrate can be controlled. Packet switched or a circuit switched network. A key network attribute that affects the design of media streaming system is whether they are packet switched or a circuit switched. Packet switched network such as Ethernet LANs and the internets are shared networks where the individual packets of data may exhibit variable delay, may arrive out of order, or may be completely lost. That is called packet switched networks. Alternatively, circuit switched networks such as the public switch telephone network PSTN or ISDN that reserves resources and the data has a fixed delay and it arrives in order. However, the data may still be corrupted by bit errors or burst errors. That's the difference between packet switched and circuit switched network. A quality of service, that is QoS support. QoS support is quality of service support. That is also very important area. So an important area of network research over the past 20-30 years is on QoS support, quality of service. The quality of service we can give. So QoS is actually is a vague and all encompassing term. This is used to convey that the network provides some type of preferential delivery service or performance guarantees. Example is guarantee on throughput, maximum loss rates, or delay kind of thing. Network QoS support can greatly facilitate the video communication as it can enable number of capabilities including provisioning for video data, prioritizing delay sensitive video data which is relative to other forms of data traffic, and also prioritize among the different forms of video data that must be communicated. See, unfortunately, QoS is currently not widely supported in packet switch networks such as the internet. However, circuit switched networks such as the PSTN or ISDN do provide various guarantees on delay, bandwidth, and loss rate. The current internet does not provide any QoS support and it is often referred to as best effort BE, since the basic function is to provide simple network connectivity by best effort, that's all, without any guarantees. That's a packet delivery. Different forms of network QoS that are under consideration for the internet include differentiated services. We'll call it as diffserv, and integrated services, that is called intserv. So we will be discussing about this later and some other time. But these two are the different services and integrated services. There are two different services available.